So check it out, check it out. We do not care how good you think your favorite wide receiver is going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, when the Arizona Cardinals draft Caleb Williams. Nah, man. We need players that are going to score us fantasy points now, today, in 2023, and that's what I'm talking about in this episode today. There are a lot of veteran wide receivers that have lost that shine, that aren't as sexy as some of the young guys, but once we get to the end of the season, we look back and be like, damn, we should have seen it coming. These old guys are going to go out there and do what they've been doing, and this is why we probably should have been drafting them in ranges where there were some of those shiny new toys. So we're going to talk about those players. It's going to be a damn good one. We're going to get into the why, and we're going to get into the how right now. I appreciate everybody tapping back into the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome into Destination Devy. If you stick around to the end of the video, you find the information actionable and or entertaining, hit that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Let me know what you think about these veteran wide receivers. And if you've been here before, y'all know what we're about to do. We're going to have a good time talking about some of these players. Got a lot of guys on tap today. And let me just start out by saying this. In the last wide receiver video I put out, the Trinity video, a lot of people are like, man, we know that guy is good. We know that. Let me tell you something. If you're here, you're watching this, you know football. You don't need me or any other creator on YouTube or Twitter or wherever to tell you that Justin Jefferson is a good player, that Nick Chubb is a good running back. What we aim to do at Destination Devy is teach you why, dive into the how. All we're doing in fantasy, every last one of us, whether that's me, whether that's you watching, we're trying to tell ourselves a story. We're trying to tell ourselves a story of how player X gets to the end result. And there are different ways to get to the end of that story, but if you can teach somebody and learn a process, take a look at some things, what you should be able to do with that information is take it back to your home leagues, your coworkers, your colleagues, your family member, and deploy some of those strategies to exploit an eager market, an overzealous market on a player. That's what I'm trying to do. When you get into the analytics, there's some very common themes that you can find inside at least that wide receiver position. And you know we're going to talk through some of that today. I want to touch on some veteran wide receivers. We've got about 7 or 8 guys. We're going to look at where they're being drafted at Underdog, and we are going to try to tell that story, how these players are top 36 assets at the wide receiver position with some upside for more. And we're going to start off real dirty, real nasty, real disgusting at the top of this list. Talk about a guy that a lot of people thought was just kind of left for dead. Adam Thielen, wide receiver from the Carolina Panthers. If you had to guess right now who's going to be the security blanket for Bryce Young in 2023, everybody's answer was the same, Adam Thielen. I'm showing you right now a utilization report brought to you by Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. Shout out to my dog, Dwayne McFarland. But he's done this where you could see what these players have done throughout the preseason. And Adam Thielen, you're looking at a 35% target share. That's one of the ingredients in the Trinity. You got to be able to command the targets. What I really like to see from old man Thielen are the air yards. We know DJ Chark is a little hampered right now. Terrace Marshall just got back to practice. Jonathan Mingo is a young rookie. So when you're looking at Adam Thielen, leading his team in target share, one important ingredient of the Trinity. Also, the air yard share, 36% in the preseason. And I get it, limited sample size. But when he's on the field with Bryce Young, he's being targeted in those very fantasy-friendly environments. Down the field, getting the targets. The Panthers are not projected to be very good this season, so there's going to be some opportunity for Adam Thielen to get on there and volume his way to top 36 production. If you take a look at Adam Thielen's ADP on Underdog Fantasy right now, he's coming off of the board in the 13th round. I'll just give you a couple of names of players who are being drafted ahead of him or right behind him. You've got Darnell Mooney from the Chicago Bears, Rashee Rice from the Chiefs, MVS from the Chiefs, Van Jefferson getting a little more attractive right now with Cooper Kupp's hamstring injury. But when I'm looking at Adam Thielen and people taking a Rashee Rice over him, Darnell Mooney, this is a spot that I would absolutely target him. If not, maybe a couple of spots before that. I'm not saying get ambitious going to round 10, round 11, but in round 13, if you're sitting in this cluster of wide receivers, then Adam Thielen is 100% a target for me because he's going to be probably, if we tell ourselves the story, the main target for Bryce Young, young rookie quarterback. Is he going to get the opportunity, the volume to score fantasy points this year? The answer is yes. He's the team's starting wide receiver. He's the starting X for a young quarterback who is very, very accurate. In round 13, Adam Thielen, even at his old age, talking about right now, not 5 years from now, not 2 years from now, Adam Thielen is definitely an older wide receiver veteran that I'm targeting for leagues in 2023. Let's get a little bit younger. Let's get a little bit younger. Another guy who's on an offense that throughout preseason, it has looked like this offense has just got better and better every single week. Everybody is excited about this young quarterback, Diontae Johnson. So let's pull up Diontae Johnson's preseason utilization report. This preseason, this is what Diontae Johnson did on the field when he was there with Pat Freiermuth, Allen Robinson, George Pickens. 29% targets per out run, 29% target share led the team. Air yard share, one of the important ingredients of the Trinity, 38%. Somebody asked me in the comments, why do you not use unrealized air yards opposed to the completed ones? We're using the share of air yards. So it doesn't matter if it's caught or not. When you're using the air yard share, it encompasses both. For him to be 5% more than even that dog George Pickens, very encouraging for Diontae Johnson. Target share, elite light, between 25 and 29% last year. Air yard share was elite light, between 35 and 40% last year. What really gets Diontae Johnson is that he's not a big yak guy, below average in that department, and that is why it keeps Diontae Johnson from being, you know, kind of one of those elite threshold wide receivers in an improved offense. Everything that Pittsburgh's done up front with their offensive line just screams that they want to protect their young quarterback, ball-controlled offense, which should yield for some more efficiency opportunities for Kenny Pickett in this offense. So Diontae Johnson, when you take a look at where he's going a couple of picks behind DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, right ahead of Jerry Jeudy and Terry McLaurin. And I'm looking at this in round 5, and I'm thinking, you know, what's the story for Drake London? We're talking about an offense that they were, second in rush attempts last season, and that was with Tyler Algier. You bring in Bijan Robinson. Everybody's predicting that Desmond Ridder is not going to throw the ball a lot. So now you got Drake London competing for targets with Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts in a low-volume attack, opposed to the team's number 1 receiver. Diontae Johnson in round 5 is like a smash for me, and there are a couple of players even on this list. I like Brandon Ayuk. I'd probably prefer Diontae Johnson. I'm a big fan of Drake London in Dynasty, but this season, give me Diontae Johnson. Hell, even DJ Moore in Chicago. Is there going to be enough passing volume for Moore to be valued a full 12 picks ahead of Diontae Johnson? What I do know is this is a very talented player who a lot of people just kind of dismiss. So if you're sitting there in round 5 and it's between Jerry Jeudy and Diontae Johnson, Drake London and Diontae Johnson, if I had to put my money on who outscores who this season, it's going to be that Steelers wide receiver that seemingly just gets 150 targets every damn year. Let's talk through Tyler Lockett. Every year, Tyler Lockett goes out there and he does Tyler Lockett things, and nobody ever wants him, ever. Always drafted under what he's always going to produce. Just looking at Tyler Lockett last year, average air yard share between 20 and 25%, solid. Average target share between 20 and 25%, solid. Yards per route run, average, pretty good. Yak, listen, y'all have watched Tyler Lockett just like I have. He ain't yakking nobody. When he catches it, he's falling down to the ground, but that's okay. And then you got an above average quarterback according to PFF. So when you look at his Trinity components, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. And pretty good I'm in on. Pretty good is going to keep you on the field in the NFL. Pretty good is why that veteran is going to go out there and probably have another 1,000-yard season, even with them drafting Jackson Smith and Jigba. So let's take a look at where Tyler Lockett is. And you just saw it on the last screen. Diontae Johnson. There goes Tyler Lockett. So players being drafted ahead of Tyler Lockett right now. Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin. Those two in particular, McLaurin and Jeudy, dealing with injuries. Got Diontae Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London. If I just had to put my money on it this year, this season alone, but I'd probably put my money on Tyler. Lockett to outscore Drake London, absent some massive touchdown season from London. Just concerned about the volume in Atlanta. Tyler Lockett, you see JSN back at practice now. He's got a damn club on his hand, but this is an offense that is probably going to be very, very good. They've got a good offensive line, a good rushing attack. You've got 3 good wide receivers. I know people are a little fearful. Man, JSN, DK Metcalf. I'm not worried about Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is going to do what Tyler Lockett has done the past 3 years, and I want to show y'all this. But let's just take a look at Tyler Lockett from last year. This is a graph of the Trinity, so you can kind of see it, a visual learner, right? So you see the yards per route run, good. Air yard share, solid. Target share, solid. But right there at the bottom, Yards after the catch, nothing there. That's just not Tyler Lockett's game. But maybe one season was just a blip on the radar. So let's take a look at another season from Tyler Lockett in 2021. A little bit better, but still not even 50%, not even hitting the 50% threshold of yards after the catch, but everything else is great. Target share looks identical. Yards per route run, everything looks identical. Air yard share, all there. Yards after the catch is missing. So that's 2 years in a row. And just for shits and giggles, let's just see back in 2020. And would you look at that? Target share, good. Air yard share, good. Yards after the catch per reception, not good. So this is a player who for 3 seasons has sort of done the same thing. They showed us who they are. It's not changing. Lockett's not going to increase his yards after the catch. He's going to do great down the field. He's going to earn his targets. That's who Tyler Lockett is. I like the ADP value. And I talked about Amon-Ra in the last one. For the last 4 or 5 seasons, going back to USC, he's not been a big down the field guy, and I don't think it's going to change. If he cannot add that to the repertoire, the ceiling is just going to be capped. It's just going to be capped, and that's the way it is. So, like me some Tyler Lockett, so should you. Don't be afraid about the age. Don't be afraid about JSN. You got a good quarterback on a good offense and a receiver that's been just as consistent as can be. Let's talk through some Christian Kirk, which is an interesting situation right now because we all expect Calvin Ridley to come back and look like the man that finishes wide receiver 4 his last full season playing from a point-per-game basis. Calvin Ridley's dope. Jacksonville Jaguars are an ascending team. They've got a young quarterback that's ready to go in Trevor Lawrence and a good offense led by Doug Peterson. So you look at Christian Kirk right now, it was good last year, very solid. Christian Kirk is probably the new age version of Tyler Lockett, just solid, good at everything, great at none. But let's take a look at how things shook out during the preseason for the Jacksonville starting receivers. You see this right here. I mean, they're trying to get Calvin Ridley up to speed first and foremost. 100% route participation when he was on the field. Christian Kirk, 25%. And then you look at the air yard share. Second for Christian Kirk right there at 27%. So based off of how the Jaguars utilize these receivers in the preseason, definitely looks like Calvin Ridley is the wide receiver 1. But don't fear. There's still plenty of room for Christian Kirk to be good, for Christian Kirk to score you points. Look at the Trinity components. I mean, this is the epitome of average. Average target share, average air yard share, average yards per route run, average yak after the reception, and average quarterback. It's just yellow down the board for Christian Kirk. And you know what? It's boring, but sometimes boring is good. I will take boring, scoring me points over exciting and bad. You look at where he's drafted. There's no world in which I would ever take Jerry Jeudy over Christian Kirk right now. It's just not happening. Love the talent of Jerry Jeudy, but damn, man, it feels like he's Mr. Glass. Something always with Jerry Jeudy. Terry McLaurin banged up, and he's playing with a young quarterback in Sam Howell. Got Diontae there. We talked about him. Nuke Hopkins, Drake London, Christian Kirk going in the 5th round. And I know Jeudy and their ADPs are right there. But if you're in this situation and you're between those two guys, take Christian Kirk. Take the good offense that plans to throw the ball upwards of 600 times. Take the value dip on Christian Kirk. There's a good chance that both of these guys are very, very good this year. And who would be shocked if they ended up in both of them were 1,000-yard receivers? Calvin Ridley with 1,257 and Christian Kirk with 1,099. That's still an incredible season. So don't be fearful of that situation. Be excited. Be encouraged. One-on-one situations for Christian Kirk, he should thrive. My favorite old guy, and he is the highest rated one of these older veterans of everybody that we talked about. But again, I want to talk about the how he gets to an even better level this year. And it's always the guy that you're sitting there in underdog drafts and you're like, I really don't want to draft him, but I got to draft him. The ADP is there. I'm talking about Amari Cooper. I mean, you look at this and you're like, man, he should be an elite scorer. Target share, 25 to 30% elite light. Air yard share, 35 to 40% elite light. Yards per route run, elite. One of the best receivers versus man. Success rate, 31% versus man last year. And then you look at his quarterback. Good quarterback. Deshaun Watson, the last time he played, not last season, those games, but the last time he was a full-time starter, this is what PFF graded his quarterback grade out at. It's an 80 to 85. So you look at all three of those things. You look at those components of what you need to build that elite receiver. Amari Cooper's right there. Amari Cooper is right there. He's going to lead the team in targets. He's getting a $140 plus this season. They're going to throw it to him down the field. They're going to get it to him short and intermediate. We hope he can pick up that yards after the catch ability. But this is a player drafted right behind K. Metcalf, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, and Devonta Smith. Love him for Dynasty. Love him for Dynasty Fantasy Football. This year, I think we can make a very reasonable bet that Amari Cooper scores more than T. Higgins this year. And the number one in this offense, I got to worry about Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper. If you're sitting here in that third round, that mid to late third, and Amari Cooper's chilling there, don't take DK Metcalf over him. I wouldn't take T. Higgins over him. Be loading up on Amari Cooper. Again, how does he get there? We went through the Trinity components. He's going to get the target share. He's going to get the air yard share. He's got the efficient quarterback. We hope yards after the catch. We'll see how that does. Maybe he can make up for that in the touchdown department. Amari Cooper, one of my favorite older veteran buys to play this year that I think is going to turn out like he always does. Very good numbers, and I think the ceiling is a little bit higher with Deshaun Watson finally sort of acclimated back into the NFL. A couple of other bonus players I want to talk about. Jakobi Meyers, Las Vegas Raiders. Nobody really talks about Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi who? Jakobi Meyers left New England. We thought he'd be the one in New England. Now he's playing second fiddle to Davante Adams. But Jakobi Meyers can play. Look at his target share when he was in New England, right? Average target share, average air yard share, average yards per route run. And he had a below average quarterback in Mac Jones. And Jimmy Garoppolo is no world beater, but he is better than Mac Jones, I think. I think he's better than Mac Jones. But Jakobi Meyers is just a rock-solid wide receiver that's probably going to play a very nice complementary role to Davante Adams this year. I mean, this is a player being drafted after damn Jameson Williams. Why? Like, come on, man. J-Mo in a seasonal league over Jakobi Meyers, what are we doing? What are we doing? He's missing half the season. J-Mo's out half the year, and you want to take him, ahead of Jakobi Meyers, Allen Lazard, Marvin Mims. I'm excited about the rookie too, but this year, this season, Jakobi Meyers probably outscores all of those guys. I know the name isn't sexy. He's a player that you're just kind of like, it's just Jakobi Meyers, but damn it, I'm just trying to score fantasy points, and that guy Jakobi Meyers is going to do just that. And the last player I want to talk about that got kind of a boost to his value is Courtland Sutton, wide receiver of the Denver Broncos. Jerry Jeudy dealing with an injury. You see Courtland Sutton right here going in round 8 of underdog drafts. Another interesting pocket, Hollywood Brown or Courtland Sutton. These Cardinals, they released Colt McCoy. We don't know if it's Josh Dobbs or Clayton Tune starting. You got a bunch of rookies, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, love them. Give me all of them over Courtland Sutton in Dynasty. Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman with Anthony Richardson. Hell, Brandon Cooks is too low on here. Let's just talk Brandon Cooks. He should be drafted higher than some of these guys. But when you're looking at Courtland Sutton right here in the 8th round, and let's just take a look at his graph chart. And this was in 2022. Target share, fantastic. Air yard share, incredible. This is downright putrid. This is worse than Tyler Lockett's. The yards after the catch per reception are just not there. Did not do it last year in 2022. Let's just take a look to make sure it's not a blip on the radar. In 2021, it was just as bad. Target share, air yard share are going to be there for Courtland Sutton. He ain't doing nothing after the catch. That's not his game. That's not what Courtland Sutton does. Where he can win is if Jeudy is going to miss an extended period of time. You got Marvin Mims, a young rookie, still getting acclimated to the league. I don't care what he's doing in practice. On Sundays, when it really counts, it's a whole different animal. So you're talking about a veteran wide receiver who's already shown an ability to command the ball in an offense. Multiple seasons for Courtland Sutton. Big playability down the field. He's not going to give you anything after the catch, but can he be one of those Mike Evans, just get a bunch of targets down the field, score touchdowns? We know Sutton can do that in that department. With his ADP where it's at in round 8 and some of the players being drafted ahead of him, give me some Courtland Sutton at cost. Did not think I'd be here, but here we are. So those are some of the older veterans right now that are being drafted in kind of ambiguous pockets, ambiguous ranges. A lot of hope that I say, a lot of dynasty ranges where you see the young rookie wide receivers and your mind is just like, I'd rather have them long term. Talking about right now, I need you for 17 games of a fantasy football season. Appreciate y'all tapping in, staying through this episode. Comment below, what veteran wide receivers do you think are worth taking a shot on? Michael Thomas, maybe. Anybody else? Nico Collins, I thought about talking about him on this video, but comment below. And if you did stick around, found the action, the content actionable and or entertaining, hit the thumbs up button, like, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everybody being in. We got more content and good stuff on the way here at Destination Devi. Y'all be blessed. I'm out. Peace.